One afternoon, Caitlyn nervously sits in her car, parked across from a blue house. After a while, she sees AJ and his friend Sean stop in front of the house. Caitlyn checks a photo of AJ's family to confirm it's him. AJ suggests they go to Sean's house instead, and as they walk past Caitlyn's car, she quickly looks away, hiding her face. A few minutes later, Caitlyn moves her car closer to the blue house, just as AJ's parents, Liz and Gabe, pull up. Caitlyn gets out of the car, nervously asks Gabe if he's Gabe Michaels, and then tells him that her mother, Elaine Patterson, was his ex-girlfriend, which means she's his daughter. Liz asks Gabe if he recognizes the woman in the photo, and he says he knew her briefly before meeting Liz. Caitlyn then explains that she thought her father was dead, but after her mother passed away a month ago, she learned about Gabe. She shows Gabe Elaine's will, which confirms his identity. When Liz asks where Caitlyn is staying, Caitlyn awkwardly admits she's been living in her car. Suddenly, AJ walks in through the front door. His parents invite him to join them in the living room, but he heads upstairs instead. Gabe turns to Caitlyn and asks what she plans to do next. Caitlyn says she'll probably look for a job now that she's finished high school. After dinner, Caitlyn overhears Gabe asking Liz if she's ready to go back to work tomorrow, especially since it's only been a week since she got out of the psychiatric hospital. Later, AJ notices Caitlyn in the living room and asks how she knows his parents. Gabe explains that Caitlyn might be his daughter, which makes her and AJ half-siblings. Gabe reassures AJ that they'll handle this as a family, but AJ sarcastically storms off to his room. Caitlyn feels guilty for making things uncomfortable for everyone, so she decides to leave and give them space. Before she goes, she hugs Gabe, happy to finally meet him. Just as Caitlyn gets in her car, Liz knocks on the window and asks her to come back inside. Later, AJ sees Caitlyn in the hallway and smiles when he realizes she's staying the night. Just then, Liz appears and notices Caitlyn is only wearing a sleeveless top and shorts. She hands her a robe, much to AJ's annoyance. The next morning, Liz offers AJ a ride to school, but he quickly turns her down, showing the tension between them. After AJ leaves, Liz asks Caitlyn about her plans for the day. Caitlyn says that Gabe is taking her to the hospital for a blood test later. Before Liz goes upstairs to get ready, Caitlyn gives her a warm hug to show her appreciation. Later, Caitlyn watches as Liz drives off and then starts looking through her things. She notices a framed magazine cover and a guitar, which makes her think that Gabe is a musician. In the bathroom, Caitlyn finds Liz's medication and wonders what condition she might have. Meanwhile, Liz is out jogging with her friend Angie, who expresses concern that Liz might be going back to work too soon. Liz responds seriously, mentioning that her breakdown happened because of work, but she believes the job will help distract her. She also says that her family needs the money. At school, Sean sees AJ staring at his crush, Jackie, and encourages him to talk to her. But when Jackie gives AJ a wary look, he quickly looks away. At the record store where Caitlyn works, she talks to her friend Allison, saying she was surprised by how nice Liz was. She thought Liz might react negatively to her behavior. Meanwhile, Liz arrives at her first day back at the architectural firm, and her co-workers warmly welcome her return. Later, Liz apologizes to her boss, Mr. Tillman, who reminds her of the office incident that had a big impact on their work. Liz, feeling sorry, says she's taken time to address the issues that led to her emotional breakdown. She explains that gambling on Gabe's album, taking out a second mortgage, and the pressure of her demanding job all contributed to her mental struggles. She assures him that she's in a better place now. That afternoon, Liz walks into the music studio and sees Caitlyn singing into a microphone while Gabe plays the guitar. Liz applauds them and tells Caitlyn that she gave Gabe the guitar when they were broke and dating, which Caitlyn finds sweet. When they are alone, Liz tells Gabe that even though Mr. Tillman still has issues with her, she's glad to be back with him, especially since the firm depends on her high-profile clients. Liz insists that she must return to work, even if it risks her health, since Gabe isn't making money as a musician. As they cuddle on the couch, Liz asks if Gabe got the blood test, and he replies that they'll get the results in a few days. At first, Liz thinks it might be best if Caitlyn stays somewhere else for a while, but when Gabe mentions that he and Caitlyn share a musical bond, Liz softens and agrees to let Caitlyn stay until they get the blood test results. Later, AJ comes home from school, and while he plays video games with Caitlyn, she asks him why he's upset with his mother. AJ says she wouldn't understand, so Caitlyn reminds him how lucky he is to still have a mother. She confesses that she wishes she had been kinder to her own mom when she was alive. During dinner, Caitlyn mentions she got a job at the record store, even though she has worked there for some time. To celebrate, Gabe brings out a bottle of sparkling wine. As they toast, Caitlyn accidentally spills some wine on her blouse. Without hesitation, Gabe uses his napkin to help her clean it up. Liz watches the interaction quietly, wondering if Gabe realizes it was inappropriate, especially since Caitlyn could be his daughter. A little later, Gabe undermines Liz's authority by giving the teens permission to go to the ice cream shop, even though Liz said no. Upset, Liz heads to the bathroom, opens her medicine bottle, and dumps the contents into the toilet. Later, as the teens wait outside the ice cream shop, Caitlyn notices AJ staring at Jackie. She figures he has a crush on her, so she pretends to flirt with AJ to make Jackie jealous, which works. The next day, Caitlyn asks Allison if she knows anyone who has had a nervous breakdown because she read online that it might be a heart attack. Just then, AJ and Sean walk into the record store to surprise Caitlyn on her first day of work, which confuses Allison. On their way home, Caitlyn and AJ stop by the marina, where AJ shares that his mom, Liz, used to be carefree but started having random outbursts a few months ago. He explains that Liz now spends most of her time in her office. AJ says that during one argument, Liz told him she wished she'd never had him, which is why she's so upset. AJ adds that his parents have been together for a long time, but they don't get along well. He also says Liz felt forced to stay with Gabe when she got pregnant with him, even though she thought Gabe was a loser. AJ explains that Liz had another outburst at work the next day, and she would have been fired if her medical condition hadn't been known. He admits it feels strange to have his mother back, and that he's always worried the outbursts might happen again. Later that afternoon, Liz comes home from work and sees Gabe and Caitlyn grilling burgers on the patio. She watches as Gabe touches Caitlyn's back, and the way he looks at her makes Liz uneasy. Eventually, Gabe notices Liz has arrived and invites her to join them for burgers, but Liz politely declines, saying she needs to prepare for a presentation the next day. That night, Liz finally expresses her concerns about the way Gabe is acting around Caitlyn. Shocked, Gabe can't believe what Liz is suggesting, but Liz tells him that she recognizes the behavior because he used to act similarly with her. To calm her down, Gabe insists that the accusation is absurd and that he would never act inappropriately with Caitlyn. He adds that even if Caitlyn isn't his biological daughter, he would never pursue someone as young as their son. In the middle of the night, Liz hears a noise from downstairs and decides to check. She runs into Caitlyn by the stairs, who says she just went to the kitchen for a glass of water. After Caitlyn heads back to her room, Liz notices that her office door is open and her computer monitor is on. The next day, Liz is confused when she can't find the client file on her laptop. Mr. Tillman expresses concern, reminding her that her previous episode started with similar memory issues. Later, Liz confronts Caitlyn about using her computer the previous night and accidentally deleting the file. Caitlyn denies going into the office, but the conversation becomes tense, and she leaves the house quickly. Gabe later asks Liz about her accusations, pointing out that Caitlyn has no reason to delete the files. He also suggests Liz may have returned to work too soon. Liz responds that they need the income to pay bills. Gabe, however, worries that Liz might be overworking herself and could relapse, which could limit future job opportunities because of her mental health history. Finally, Liz tearfully apologizes to Gabe for her actions, realizing they were irrational. Later, when AJ visits the store, Caitlyn notices Jackie and her friends near the door. She decides to approach Jackie, befriend her, and introduce her to her brother. After the group leaves, the excited siblings hug, but AJ unexpectedly kisses Caitlyn. Embarrassed, he says he doesn't know why, and Caitlyn reassures him it's fine. Liz, following Angie's advice, apologizes to AJ for past hurtful words. They make amends and hug. Later, Liz overhears the teens talking about the kiss, which shocks her and almost causes a breakdown. She tries to calm down on the treadmill, but is interrupted by Caitlyn wanting to talk. Liz confronts Caitlyn about the kiss, still unsure of her intentions. The argument escalates, drawing Gabe and AJ's attention. Caitlyn hands Gabe a paper, revealing DNA results that confirm he's her father. The next day, AJ tells Sean he's worried his mom might relapse, now that they've just repaired their relationship, and he doesn't want her to end up back in the hospital. Caitlyn talks to Gabe, saying she's scared of Liz. Gabe reassures her and asks her to stay a few more days. Later, Liz practices for her presentation, and Mr. Tillman praises her work. At Gabe's birthday party, Liz apologizes to Caitlyn, explaining her past breakdown and how it affected her family. She admits feeling jealous seeing Caitlyn connect with Gabe and help AJ. Gabe smiles, seeing them make peace, then introduces Caitlyn to Paul, who quickly shows interest in her. Gabe gets upset when he notices Caitlyn flirting with Paul. He angrily tells Paul to stay away, and when Paul tries to ease the tension with humor, Gabe pushes him away and demands he leave. As Gabe calms down, he realizes everyone at the party is watching, confused by what just happened. That night, Liz tells Gabe he seemed jealous of Paul flirting with Caitlyn. Gabe explains he's protective because he's never had a daughter. Liz disagrees, mentioning she overheard AJ and Caitlyn talking about the kiss, which surprises Gabe. Gabe tries to shift the topic to his stress over Liz's condition, annoying her, so she decides to sleep in the basement. Later, Gabe sees Caitlyn packing, and though he can't stop her from leaving, he hopes she stays. The next morning, Liz leaves a note for AJ, saying she'll be late for dinner. Gabe picks up AJ for school and apologizes for his behavior at the party. He also tells AJ that if they're living together, the siblings shouldn't kiss anymore. AJ asks why Gabe seems to be excluding Liz, but Gabe brushes it off. Meanwhile, Liz realizes a file is corrupted during her presentation for Mr. Nakatomi, and after the meeting, Mr. Tillman fires her. Liz later accuses Caitlyn of deleting the files, but Caitlyn denies it. Allison sees Liz and Caitlyn arguing and asks what's going on. Liz says she just wants to know who Caitlyn really is. Allison defends Caitlyn, but Liz calls her a liar and leaves. On the way home, Liz calls Angie, suspecting Caitlyn might not be Gabe's daughter. At home, Liz finds a photo of her family in Caitlyn's car. Later, she finds DNA results and a picture of Elaine in Caitlyn's room and decides to visit the hospital. Meanwhile, Gabe arrives at the store and admits to Caitlyn that they've been having an affair while Liz was in the hospital. Liz goes to the address on the DNA results but finds a private property instead of a hospital, realizing the results were fake. At the Office of Statistics, she learns that Elaine is alive and in prison. AJ is suspended for fighting with Sean over Gabe's behavior at the party. Later, AJ catches Gabe and Caitlyn in the bedroom. He tells Liz, who demands to know how long this affair has been going on. Caitlyn admits they met while Liz was in the hospital, and Liz realizes Gabe created a false story about Caitlyn to cover up the affair. Gabe defends himself, blaming Liz's career for the situation. Liz then realizes Gabe deleted her files from the computer. In a fit of rage, Liz smashes Gabe's guitar, and after Gabe pushes her down, AJ attacks him. The neighbors intervene, and Liz tells Gabe and Caitlyn to leave. Weeks later, Liz is excited about her new job and shares a stronger bond with AJ as they spend time together.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and stay connected with us.